Hello guys, this is Javier from Compass, and we are going to be taking a look here at the Manhattan Market Report that just came out from February, the Market Insights, that's how we call it in Compass. And I have not seen this, so we're blind reacting together. Let's take a look here. Let me make my a little circle here on the side. Manhattan Insights from February. Today is March 5th, so we're looking at this pretty fresh. The division of the neighborhoods, you're going to see that they're kind of like clustered together. In a few blocks. These are very general guidelines on the market. So inventory, we have an existing supply. You see how the existing supply is a little bit less than the existing supply the month before. That's interesting. Either properties went on market or went in contract. Take a look at the distribution in neighborhoods and condo co-ops. This is interesting data. I don't know how really relevant it is if you're a buyer or a seller, but it's interesting data to know and kind of like give you a landscape of the market. Just like this, like for example, if you take a look at this here, let me see if I can zoom in. Here, the market share of the high end of the market here is less than the month before. But it's not out of the norm. It's just less than the month before. But these are just things that you see, or I see, or when somebody sees these reports. It's just fun to kind of like take a look at. This is contract sign, by the way. So contract sign is real-time data. So we're looking here at kind of like real-time data. This is what's happening in that month, which closed sales. If you've seen any of my videos, you know that it's a 3-month-old data, 6-month-old data. It's really not as relevant to what's happening on the market. We have more contract signs in co-ops than in condos. That is interesting information. That's relevant information. We have the similar amount of inventory that condos and co-ops, but co-ops have more value in the eye of the buyer, so they're purchasing co-ops more. Which means if you're a buyer, is there an opportunity in the condo market to potentially leverage a little bit of that? If you are a seller, do you have to adjust your pricing if you're in the condo market? And if you're in a co-op market, can you get a little bit more aggressive? I don't necessarily recommend that. There's a reason why co-ops have 60% of the share of contracts last month. So in overall, this is price closings. You can see they went down. But again, price closings is 3 months to 6 months old. So we're looking at they went down. That is the pricing of a few months ago. And we knew the market was hurting then. We can go back in the reports and see how little contracts were happening, right? Same as median sales price. Makes sense, it went down. Average sales price, no problem. Let's talk about contract signed. This is the number. This is the real-time number. This is what we are feeling. Now, it is less than last February, but it is way more than January. I can tell you anecdotally that with the buyers I'm working with, now that when we're making appointments, there's more things that are in contract than before. It was easier to make an appointment and a tour. Now things are going into contract a little bit more. And that's mostly February contracts or some stuff that maybe is recorded in contract in the last few days. So average price per square footage. Again, a little bit old data, but it's interesting to see how it has gone down. Actually, if you look, because the black here is this year, and this is the year before, the gray. So it has gone down, except in the bigger bedrooms, apartments, the higher size. And let's see, in terms of condos, a bigger price hit, 10%. I mean 9%, 9.1%, 17% year over year. So condos are really having a harder time holding that price. 3 months, 6 months old data. Let's take a look at contract sign. We know that we have less contract signs in condos because we saw that spread in the condos and co-op share. If we look at year over year, that's minus 12%. That's a disaster. If we look at month over month, it's only 5% above. So we are not really having like the best time in co-ops, in condos. If we look at now, let's see what happens with co-ops. Let's take a look at co-ops. We can look at the price per square foot here, how it's less than the year before. Again, the price per square foot is a little old. It does not represent the psychology of the buyer right now out there. Let's take a look here. Manhattan co-ops. Look at that, co-ops. The prices is the only segment that we have seen right now where it has gone up. We have really only seen 2 segments. So 29% more contracts signed year over year. A little less than the year before, but pretty much flat. 9 units, I don't know how much that is relevant really. But if we look at your average discounts, that's normal. Days on marketing went a little bit up, but your closing prices went up 8.9% month over month, 7.9% year over year. The median stayed flat year over year and went up 3.1 month over month. So it is holding up a little bit more. You can see that the inventory is tightening up. Let's take a look. I didn't mention anything about the inventory in condos. It's also tightening up. And you can see this is a segment where we can see the average price per square foot either going down or either going up or staying flat year over year. So that's Manhattan. What does this look like? So again, price, which is something that we're seeing going down dramatically, does not reflect the actual marketplace right now. It's kind of like an echo of what was happening in the middle or at the beginning of the last quarter in 2023, and maybe the end of the third quarter of 2023. So don't get too crazy or tight about that. Look at the amount of contracts that are happening, though. We can see an uptick in activity from January, that it's a lot. If we look at year over year, it's kind of like not super flat, but also not falling dramatically. Like the prices look like they're falling. So it's contract price, contract amount, and what does that look like that in terms of inventory? We have less inventory, so it makes sense that we're going to have less contracts. We expect more inventory to come in March because the spring market starts in March. Let's see what that looks like this season. And that's also going to come with new market data that might start reflecting a little bit more of like that buyer's activity that started to bubble up in December and January. That's it. That's Manhattan. The Brooklyn one's coming next. So either stick around or click next or whatever it is that you need to do to watch your next report if you're interested in the Brooklyn market data. Blind React. I hadn't seen this before. We saw it together.